Sierra with Dance Like We're Making Love. I won't say anything about that. It is the Hit Selector on 88.2 San FM. My name is Crystal, and joining me on Celeb Select, yes, I can now introduce her, a very good friend. We go way back, Angela Kalule.
Yes. Nice to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
You're
How
looking
are you?
very well.
Thank you. You too, by the way.
Oh,
you always look good.
Oh, thank
The
you, my
bro
dear.
always on point.
The bro. Man, I've mastered the art somehow.
I'm trying to. I'm also trying to. You know, I started wearing makeup of recent, so I'm like, okay.
I know. You never used to.
I never
I think it was
used to.
just maybe lipstick, and that was
No, it was
all
lip
you used to-
balm. Only lip balm.
Lip balm.
Imagine.
Wow.
So I graduated to lip gloss, and then now I can do some lipstick.
So, Angela, I mean, there's so many people who are so excited to have you back on air because
wow.
they remember how amazing you were on the Intimate Connection back in the day, on the
Thanks,
lounge as
thanks,
well.
thanks.
Hi, your love at 11.
The letters.
The letters.
The problems.
How many
and,
problems did you handle over the years?
You know, there were many problems. There were many problems. Some ways I used to handle them privately, you know. People would write to you privately, and you know, you try to sort out their stuff privately. I would actually even meet some couples outside.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it was really a good time when I was still here. And the satisfaction I used to get from having, you know, problems solved and, you know, relationships mended, it was just too much, and you know, fulfilling, just fulfilling. Yeah, it kept me going on and on and on.
Okay. So as we always do on Celeb Select, we want to know how it all started with you, where you grew up, where you went to school, in your own words.
Okay, I was born in Mlago. My dad and my mom went off to Kenya. I started my nursery in Aga Khan nursery school. And then my mom came back to Uganda. I went to Spire Road Primary School. She used to work in UCB then, along Lubas Road. So I had to study from Jinja. And then I went to boarding school, Makonzi Primary School.
Okay.
P5 to P7. Then I went to Christ the King Senior Secondary School, Senior 1 to Senior 3, and then just didn't work out. It was too far. I was like, I cried a little bit, and then I was taken to Nakasero Secondary School. Did my O levels, then A level, went to Mengo SS as well as Seven Hills College.
So those are a lot of schools. Huh?
Yeah, there's a little bit of. So
why was it just a matter of you were trying to find a place that you're comfortable with, or
not really? Apart from the O level part, when I started day school, I just didn't want boarding school. Then I was like, no, I
was going to ask you about that because you said you started boarding from P5.
Yes, P5.
And many of the people I've spoken to who went to boarding school quite young in life, you know, quite early in life, kind of feel like even with their own kids that they either wouldn't do that or it was a difficult time in their lives. Was it okay for you or?
It wasn't okay for me when I started boarding school. My mom and dad had separated, and so I had an uncle who was taking care of my school fees. So he dictated I had to go to boarding school because he had his brother's kids in boarding school, so I was thrown there. So I was like, oh.
So it was a turbulent time in your life.
Yeah, but
emotional.
then it was good in the end because I learned to be independent. I learned doing chores. I learned, you know, doing things on my own. And, you know, I learned being around people of different backgrounds. And, you know, it's a learning experience, by the way. Yeah, it is a learning experience.
Okay.
So for A-level, after my senior 5, my mom got really sick. So I had to look after her for 1 whole year. And when she passed on, I had to get back into school again. And then I was doing MEG. So I was advised, you know what, you shouldn't go to senior 6 straight away. If it is okay, go back to senior 5. And my teachers who used to teach me in Mengo, some of them had actually they had started up their own school, Seven Hills College. So I decided to follow and go there. And that's where I did my senior six from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then after that, was that when the music came into your life?
Yes.
Were you singing in school?
Yes, I was. But in school, mostly O level. That's when I was doing the singing part. In A level, I was a little bit reluctant. I was more into netball and volleyball. So,
oh, this is interesting.
It is.
I hope we have some pictures of you back in the day.
Oh God! I don't know. I'll see. I think
you need to give us some of those
mm-hmm.
pictures.
Yes, I will send them to you. I think I have some. I think I have some. Those short skirts and playing netball. So
so from there you said music, you weren't so serious about it in school.
Not really. Not in A level. No. I was mostly into volleyball and netball.
Okay.
But then during my vacation, I was trying to get a job. I actually had a job, my senior six vacation, but then
well done. Well done.
So one of my OBs looked me up at home and said, "You know what? Bad Valley is looking for background vocalists. They have a show coming up. So I think you could make a few bucks. Come." So I went, auditioned, and I passed, and I started singing.
Wow.
So it started there. Okay. After the show, I was they held on to me and a few others, and then we started the Diamonds production, the original Diamonds production.
Wow.
With the Misach Semakulas, Geoffrey Lutaya, before they split. So it went on.
And that's how it started. So I'm going to ask you for your first request right now.
We'll do Corner by Mafiki Zolo.
What is it about the song that you like?
Well, it's just groovy, and I don't know how to dance, but that song actually gets me on my I don't know how to dance. I'll maybe shake a little bit, but that song it's groovy, and there's a way they put Afropop to another level, actually. So it's really interesting.
Okay, so here it is, Kona from Mafiki Zolo. Sanyu FM, and I am Crystal, chatting with my lovely guest on Celeb Select, Angela Kalule. Angie, some people call her Angie. We knew her as Angel back in the day. So many versions.
Some now call me Kanji, and my band members call me Mama Kanji.
Mama Kanji. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
You talked about how you started. You're basically one of the first people when it came to Diamond Productions back in the day.
Back in the day.
Did you see yourself at that time deciding to focus on music as your passion, your career?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I looked at it as a part-time job before I could, continue my studies. By then, after our results came in, my uncle said, "You know what? Your siblings too need to, go on with their studies. I think I've pushed you to a point. So you need to get a job, start working, and later on we'll see how you can get back onto the education track." So I was like, okay. That's when I said, now I have to start singing.
Now it's time to use that talent.
I actually...
In the beginning, did you think you were good? Because you have a beautiful voice. Did you... Were you confident?
I wasn't that very... Actually, I still have stage fright even up to now. I wasn't confident at all. But then, as the days and years went by, slowly by slowly, I started, realizing that, oh, yes, I think I can do it. I
actually have something.
Yes. So... then...
How many years were you with Diamond Productions?
Quite a lot of years. The first stint was from Christmas time, 1997, to around 2000. Then I rejoined again, 2002 to 2004. Then I left That's when I came to Sanyu.
Was it easy being part of a musical production? Such a big group of creative people.
No. Different people with different backgrounds. It's really hard, especially when you're on tours. You are with them 24/7. You wake up with them, you sleep with them, you share the same stage with them. Oh, some throw tantrums, some are like, oh God. But then I'm an easy person to be with, and I just take things easy, and everything else works itself out.
Okay. So radio, how did you end up here? How did you end up at Sanyu FM back in the day?
So I knew the only way I could earn a living was using my voice by then. Okay. So I sat down and said, what else can I do besides singing? So I started, I started doing radio ads, voices. Peter would call me, hey, Angela, I have an ad for you to do. I would go get a taxi to Dungeon Studio, record an ad. I used to get money like that. Then eventually Halima Namakula said, Angela, I think you can work on radio. I've started a radio and I'm looking for presenters. And so I was like, I'm not really confident. She said, no, you will learn on the job. So I started working at Beat FM. Then it was Halima's and Rajit's. So after a few months, I decided to spread my wings. Sent in an application here and I was called. April 2004, I started here. And I never looked back.
Oh, okay. Do you miss it?
I do. There's that you sitting behind the microphone and talking to that invisible person who can't even really see you. There's a way I used to feel exhilarated. I would feel connecting to a person who really needs me to speak to them, and I miss that. Although I can do that on stage, but stage sometimes you're shy and you have stage fright. You can't look people straight in the eye, and
so you can also kind of hide here with the microphone on radio. No one is seeing you really.
Here you'd come and sit. The speakers would look at you. You have the chairs, the computers, and even though you decide to wave your hands while laughing or dancing, or nobody would see you. So I would be in my zone here. So. Okay. I miss that.
Okay. All right. Your style of radio presentation at the time was kind of different, because there had been people who had done that show, but you had that motherly touch almost. But at the same time, a lot of people remember you for your voice, how calm and beautiful it was. Do you think that maybe your singing contributed to the control that you had with your voice on radio?
Not really. Not really, because since childhood, that is me. I'm always calm, I'm subtle, that is me. Even when I was still young, my younger siblings would look at me as, they're the kind of mother or something like. So I grew up like that. So music kind of like adds to it a little bit, but that is me. It's my personality. That is how I am.
Okay. Yeah. Do you get angry?
Yes. Oh, Crystal.
What do you do? Because you say, I'm always so calm.
I get angry.
Okay.
I do. I get angry, and when I decide to get mad, or when I get mad and I decide to shout, yes, I do shout for a few minutes, and then everything goes back to normal.
Okay. All right. Your next song is coming in from a Frigo band, and you have a very long relationship with a Frigo band. Do you want to tell us about that?
They inspire me. They are a group that really has stood the test of time. They have their own distinct sound, and no matter what, they're always together. And it's one of the things I really want to do with my Kanji band. Go through the waves of wherever the waves would actually take us. I want us to always stick together.
Okay.
And and Joanita, Moses Matuvu, they've really talked to me about being professional musically. So I draw a lot of inspiration from those people.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to that relationship. But you requested one of their songs. Which one is it?
Maria. Yes.
The smile on her face right now.
Maria.
Here it is, a classic, absolute classic, Maria Afrigo Band. It is 88.2 Sanyu FM, and I'm chatting with Angela Kalule right now on the Celeb Select. She was just telling me how she had a wedding earlier, and she'll be going to a wedding later. Not as a guest, but
no. I work.
Work.
So there's a bride I had to sing for. I told them I will sing at exactly 3, such that by 3:30 I'm out of here. I have an interview, and if I don't go this time, Crystal will kill me.
So tell me, you said that you have a van because you have like a wardrobe in your van. How do you handle that? Because you go to one event, then another.
So what you do, you have to, I usually have enough wet wipes with me. I have like 3 changes of clothes. I also carry a bucket and sometimes like a 5-liter jerry can of water. So when I need to freshen up.
Thank you for sharing.
Please. Oh, God. There are times you would have like 3 functions to attend to. You have you to sing at. You have a kwanjula. You wear the gomesis, and believe me, by the time you're done, you're sweating. So you have to get out of the gomesi and get into maybe a nice fitting dress to go for a wedding. So you need to freshen up a bit. And then after the wedding, you could maybe have another gig, let's say with a band, and you need to tone down a bit. So basically, I have to have at least 3 sets of clothes in the car, like 4 to 5 pairs of shoes, jewelry box, and like a makeup kit. So basically, that is it.
It's good you're saying this. People think it's easy. It's not.
It is not easy. It's not easy, especially when you have to run from one function to another, and the traffic is terrible.
Yes.
Some of my fellow artists actually get bodas. They get a boda, get a lesu, cover themselves so that they're not seen. And they travel incognito on a boda to the next function.
It's allowed. The pressure. Now, speaking of like working with bands, I think that is probably one of you started really early singing live. You have very many artists who, go into the studio, but they don't have the strength that's needed singing live. And then you talked about a Frigo band. How did they take you under their wing?
Well, there was a time Joanita was traveling to London, and she was going to be away for 3 weeks. And then Moses contacted my then hubby to request me to sing, to sing in her place, sing some of her songs, and also sing some jazz at the beginning of the performance. So that is how I went into a Frigo band, because I used to sing with Misty Jazz. So I was always in contact with Moses, but he had to go through my then hubby to, request for my services. So that's when I started singing in a Frigo band. And I can visit them anytime. Wherever they are, Moses would just say, "Are you giving us a song?"
I have seen that. I've seen that you automatically just go up and it's like, everything, all the pieces just fall in place. So you said that they've really taught you a lot about being professional as a musician. Is that something you when you said that, I thought, do you think that's a problem that we have with other musicians?
Yeah, I will not point out who. I will not. But most of our musicians, most of them are not professional at all. In the way they run things, the way they behave, the way they carry themselves, it's really so unprofessional. You'd find someone coming to a gig, let's say 2 hours late. You'd find someone taking money and not appearing for a show. It's
Yeah, unfortunately, you do see a lot of that and hear.
And sometimes it spoils. And we are under one umbrella. So if one person does it, then it's like it's the whole bunch. You musicians, sometimes you go to a meeting, and you musicians, you don't appear. You have to stress the fact and say, "Hey, I am Angela Kalule. I am not you musicians."
Yes, make it clear.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned your then hubby. You were together for quite a few years.
Yes, we were.
And you had a child.
Yeah, we had children, 2 children.
When was this? And how old are your boys, actually?
My firstborn is 15. The secondborn is 11. So we were together since 2000. 2000 and 2000.
Okay.
Late 2000. And I left 2005.
Okay. Was it a difficult breakup for you?
This was just one of those moments when you sit down and weigh the pros and cons of whatever situation you're in and decide to say, you know what, however much I would love to be here, it's not good for me. It's not good for me at all. I need to move on.
Because you were more or less like a public, it's difficult for people when things don't work out in their private lives, and then, the whole country is also not watching. But you were worked together. And a lot of people knew you publicly as a couple.
It really was hard. It was hard. You're having to explain to everyone, hey, where's your hubby? I don't know. How couldn't you know? I thought you people. So you start telling people, no, we are no longer together. What happened? You say, no, I can't get into details. The issue is we are no longer together. So it took quite a lot of time for people to realize and get used to the fact that we aren't together anymore. But we still work together. We can work together. I can find him playing drums in a band and I'll sing. If I need his services, I can say, hey, Isaac, do you have a gig? I have a gig. Can you help me out?
Like you said, professional. And also you have children. So all these other things, you set them aside.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you for your next request right now. Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. Now that song, Greatest Love of All. I know it's a slow song for your show right now.
it's your request. It's okay.
It's of significance. I had Irene Nambiru sing that song. She had me audition. She actually was around when I auditioned to start singing at Bad Valley. So when she heard me sing that song, that particular song, she said, I want you to learn how to control your voice. And the way she sang that song, the first verse, wow, it took my breath away. So I love that song because of her. And that was the time she told me, I think you should think about pursuing singing as your career, because you have a very good voice.
Wow. Okay, here it is. Greatest Love of All.
Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be.
Okay, so you left radio, then you decided to focus on your music. Was it a very scary time for you, or you were sure that it was the direction you needed to take?
By then, actually, the reason as to why I left music was to go back to school. I couldn't handle singing, radio, and school. So one of them had to go. So I said, radio.
Okay.
Yeah. So I stayed with the singing because, I finance my studies with singing and then studying too.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you started your band, the Kanji Band.
Yes, Kanji Band.
How long has that been now?
Since 2009.
That's
since 2009.
7 years.
We've had our ups and downs, and some people have come and left. I have a lawyer. There's a lawyer. There's my first drummer is working with Jemima Sanyu. Then I have some bassists who are working with Lillian. Lillian's new bassist used to work for me some time back. But then most of the crew is still with me.
You're still together?
We're still together. We play every Tuesday at a Club Amnesia. Am I supposed to pay for that?
We always talk about it. She knows these things. You see, she used to work here.
Okay, quick. Tuesday Amnesia, Friday Sheraton, and Sunday at Moto. We also play weddings and parties.
We see you, Angela. We see you.
Please don't send me an invoice.
So, now you've been very busy. You do a lot of functions, and then you talked about early on when we were just chatting, you talked about single parenting and how you need to have a support structure as a single parent. Has that been, a difficult journey for you, or?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Because, when you start dating, still you have to think about your kids as well. And the person in your life, the new person in your life, has to know that you do have children around you. But much as they get to know that you have children, they will not be 100% involved in everything concerning the kids. So that is something that is solely left to you to manage. And being a busy person, especially during weekends, it is quite challenging, being both parents to your children. Being the father and the mother, and you try to steer them in whatever direction you want them to get to. So it is really challenging. It's hard, especially that they're boys. They would actually need a male figure in their lives.
Do they have a relationship with their father?
Yeah, they talk to him. They do talk to him.
Okay. When you say they talk to him, that means not so much of a constant.
Not so much.
Yeah. But, these things happen.
I just don't want to get into all that.
Of course. But it seems like you have a lot of support from your friends and your family.
From my friends and family. Yes, there's quite a lot of support from friends and family. They do chip in, especially when it comes to, talking to the big boy now, giving pieces of advice, trying to, help him do some manly chores so that he can, toughen up. We ladies tend to pamper our kids so much, so it's too bad if he turns out to be a mummy's boy, and I just don't want that.
You hear that? I think that's a very scary thing.
I hate it. I once dated a guy who was too much of a mummy's boy, and I was like, oh gosh.
You're like, no, this is not for me.
I ended up wanting to spank him every now and then.
What?
So let's go to something else.
Okay, let's move on to something. Okay, well, unfortunately, we are actually out of time. But she wanted to spank him. I'll just ask you for let me ask you for your advice to young people, young musicians, who are trying to find their way, who've decided to take the same path as you. What have you learned on your journey? What have you learned?
My piece of advice is they always should be focused. They should prioritize their lives quite well. And they should know, especially to the ladies. I keep on saying this over and over again. Pulling your pants down will never get you to where you want to be. Just stay focused and try as much as possible to rehearse every now and then. Once you have something good, you'll be spotted. Straight on, you'll be spotted, and you'd get all the sponsorship you'd want. You'd get all the retainerships you want, and instead, because the moment you put your dignity, you drag your dignity through the mud, that will be the end of you. The whole town would have slept with you, and you won't be anywhere.
Okay, so maintain your integrity.
And we should also be as original as possible. Stop copying each other.
Okay.
And stop thinking that, dressing skimpily is the way to go. I once had a fellow...
Yes.
I had a fellow artist say, you see, I dress like this because the audience wants that. And I was like, come on. We all dress... Look at Juanita. Look at Mariam Dagiri. They all dress decently. And people still love them. It's not about being skimpy.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure having you. Really enjoyed it.
It's too bad I have to go.
Oh, yes. Now, the last song we're going to play is one of your own, Malaika.
Malaika.
Nzize kulondola ngolowooza nti nkulaba nga